Tuesday, May 15th, and our math lesson today is all about reviewing and clarifying what you know and what you've learned about three different things: volume, area, and polygons. Those are the three main topics we will be talking about, and those are the three topics that you will be learning about in your, you'll be tested on tomorrow on your test. Let's first talk about the problem of the day. As I mentioned to you, I specifically made up this problem of the day after I got a good look at the math test for tomorrow, okay? It says, Kayla and Ben built towers out of cubes. Kayla's tower had a 5-inch square base. Ben's tower had an 8-inch square base. If Kayla's tower had a volume of 150 cubic inches and Ben's tower had a volume of 192 cubic inches, whose tower was taller? Okay, the first thing we need to do is figure out what is the question asking us to find. Right, Vic? Very good. We need to know that Kayla's tower had a 5-inch square base and Ben's tower had an 8-inch square base. We also need to know that Kayla's tower has a volume of 150 cubic inches and Ben's tower had a volume of 192 cubic inches. Okay, it's important to draw a picture to show your thinking. So for Kayla's tower, we know that it was, like a rectangular tower. And we know that the base is what shape? A square. Okay. So this square right here in blue is a square. That's the base. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay. And it says it's a 5-inch square base. That means each side of the square is how many inches? So that means the length is 5 and the width is 5. Do you agree? Okay. What is the area of the base? How do I find the area of the base? Huh? 5 times 5, which is? Square what? Good. Okay. Now, I also know that Kayla's volume is 150 cubic inches. So that means that the base, the area of the base, which is 25, times the height, we don't know what the height is, so we'll use a letter, H, will be 150 cubic inches. Do you agree? So how can we find what the height is? Jaden?
25 divided by 150.
We do 25 divided by 150?
No, 150.
Oh, be careful with how you say it. It's 150 divided by 25. Which is what, you guys? 6 inches. That means how tall is Kayla's tower? 6 inches tall. You can repeat this process to find the height of Ben's tower. So after we repeat the process for Ben, we can see that Kayla's height is 6 inches and Ben's height is 3 inches. So whose tower was taller? Kayla's. Okay? So you can see that this problem is really nice because it makes you need to understand volume and area and how they're related. Do you see that? Very good. What are the main concepts that we learned during Module 5? What's one of the main concepts? Sonatin?
We learned about polygons.
Polygons. And that was from Go Math 11.1 and 11.3, right? And also 5.16 and 5.21, like those lessons in Go Math and Eureka Math. Yes? Okay, what's another one of the main concepts we learned about? Ani? Volume. Yeah, that was in the very beginning. That was lessons 5.1 through 5.7. What's another concept that we learned about in this module? Sanjana? Area. Okay, so you can see that was in lessons 5.10 through 5.15. So it's important for you to know which lessons were what. So if you need to refresh one idea, you can go look at those lessons. Now, since you know you have a Module 5 math test tomorrow, what are some things you could use today to help you study and prepare for the test that will be tomorrow? Jaden, what's one thing you could use? Ooh, you could look over your problem sets. Very nice. What's another thing that you could do to prepare or to help you study? We'll give you a hint with those first letters. Marvin? You could, of course, do Zern.org. Zern.org is really good because it's lined up with our lessons, and sometimes the way they teach it is even better than the way I teach it. So I highly suggest you do Zern.org on the lessons that you need. Let's say you're not very good with polygons and you want to review polygons. Do you have to do all of Zern, or should you focus on lessons 16 through 21? Okay, so it's important to know which lesson is which so you know where to focus your efforts. What's another way we could study besides Zern.org or problem sets? Arvind? We could make a study guide. Okay, you could. make your own study guide. But what resources would you use to make your own study guide? Okay, you could look at your, math videos or your math notebook. Very good. Sanatin?
You could also do the homework.
You could do extra practice problems. Yeah, where would you find your extra homework? On the Grade 5 Resources website, yes? Okay, one of them starts with E. What do you think the E one starts with? Exit tickets. Good, you can look at your old exit tickets. Your last resource starts with an O. What do you think the O stands for? I'll give you a hint. It's old something. Gia? Old tests. Okay, it's really good. Give me a thumbs up if you know where your old math tests are. When they come home in Panda folders. Hopefully you don't just throw them away. Old tests are especially helpful because they give you examples of problems that can be asked. If certain problems have been asked before, chances are high that a similar problem will be asked again. They give you an understanding of what you understood and what you didn't. If you didn't understand it before, you want to make sure that you learn from your mistakes and show that you've learned it since then. Okay, so old tests are especially important to help you study. So today I've made you a study guide, but it's nothing new. Your study guide just consists of your mid-module 5 test that you took before. And the main concept on that was on volume. At that point, you hadn't learned area yet, and you hadn't learned about polygons yet. Okay? Your study guide also has 2 weekly check-ins. One that was about area, and one that was about polygons.